£39,390 between us, so just shy of £40,000. We were putting petrol on the credit card and like nappies on the credit card. We were paying so much every month, but we were always on Xero.
Megan was in her early 30s when she finally faced up to over 14 years of living in debt.
I feel like for so long, I always had it in the back of my head, I can't do this, and somehow we're here now, debt-free, which is just the biggest relief of my life. So I joined uni when I was 18, and it was like I was the oldest child and the first taste about living outside the home. And I've always been like a bit of a homebody. I grew up in a very small town, that sort of thing. And it was like my first bit of freedom. So I remember my parents, who were divorced, would give me £100 each per month. And this was like for me to live, for like food and fun and stuff. And I like blew it all in 1 week. And my dad took me to a coffee shop and gave me like a bit of a dad lecture all about like how I should budget and that sort of thing. And it all just went sort of over the head. And I had an overdraft on my bank, which I thought was £200. And I remember visiting the bank to ask them about it. And they said it's actually £1,200. And that's how the ball started rolling. In my head, I wasn't like, oh no, I should reduce that. It was like, oh, this is exciting, like money, I can go out, I can see friends, I can have dinners, I don't have to bother my dad anymore. Like it was that sort of feeling.
It didn't feel, it felt normal almost.
Yeah. It didn't feel like a worry at all at the time. I just thought it was interest free. So I knew what that meant. I knew that there was no charges or anything. And I just thought when I'm grown up in the real world with a real job, I'll just pay it back. I just thought it'd be really easy.
Yeah, it's the same. It felt to me, it was like, this is money to live off. Like you have to be in the overdraft. It was like, this is how I'm going to survive, get through uni. The RBS have given me an overdraft and a free football, so I'll sign up with them. Like it was literally like, here's a free thing you can get with it, and then that money is to be spent. I never considered how to pay it back.
No.
I think it's a bit cheeky because we're all a little bit vulnerable at university. I never had an overdraft. I got to uni and then Barclays, same thing, £1,200 overdraft. I remember it clearly. And then next thing I got letters for credit cards in the post. So I was like, oh, so it's like you're very vulnerable and they're just like, here's some free money. And you're like, cool, let me have this free money.
Yeah, you're not very old. 18 doesn't seem very old. And my dad was really warned me about credit cards. So when I got my first one just sent to me randomly in the post, I didn't ask for it. He told me to throw it to the back of the wardrobe and never look at it again, which I did. But I just didn't think about that with the overdraft. I thought, maybe in my head I thought that was different. I'm not sure.
Do you think that these kind of lessons from parents work then? Because, he seemed to really try and drill it into you about debt, and then you got into the position you did.
They had quite different ways of doing things. The way I always say it is when we'd go out for dinner with my dad, he would pay on like Tesco vouchers. He'd have like those Tesco Club Cup points, and we would get water and like maybe no pudding. It was like quite thrifty. And my mum, we would go out with her and we would get like Cokes with the dinner, and we'd get puddings and that sort of stuff. So it was like I had a very different, I feel like, money upbringing. In one was quite maybe spent a bit more, and then the other one maybe didn't.
So after uni, you went off to work as a local newspaper journalist. What was your life like then? What was your financial situation like then?
So after uni, I got my first job, and it didn't quite happen like I thought. Obviously in my head when I was 18 that I would just pay it back really quickly. There was a very small paper in my hometown. It's called Cirencester in the Cotswolds.
I know Cirencester very well. My nan lived in Oaksey.
Oh, really?
Do you know Oaksey?
Yeah, my friend lives in Oaksey.
Oh, really? There's like 10 people there.
Yeah, one of those 10.
Yeah.
And it was called the Wiltshire and Gloucestershire Standard. And I was so proud when I got that job, because I was a journalist at uni, and I was thinking, like, can I get a journalism job? It seemed quite hard. But I remember just like muscling in for work experience. And then the editor joked that I just never left. I got a job. So I was like, I'm not leaving now. But it was like, I think I was on £14,000 a year. I was like a real trainee journalist. And my boyfriend at the time and I got a flat. We lived very near to my parents, but we got a little flat and started having bills and that sort of thing and spending money on food and stuff. I decided to do a 0% balance transfer. So I transferred the overdraft over to a credit card on 0%. So then I thought, oh, okay, the overdraft's clear and now we'll just pay off that credit card. But I set it to minimum payments. So it would just take I think it was like 30 quid out of my account per month or something. And I just forgot about it. So I had about £1,200 on there. And then I also was in and out of my overdraft. So that was the situation then. A few years went by and I think I then went back into my overdraft. And then I got this 10 grand loan out because I was living in Oxford, wasn't very happy, had gone through a breakup, but then I met someone new who's now my current partner. We both weren't very happy in Oxford. We wanted to leave. And just without telling anyone, I decided, because I'd quit my job with no other job lined up, and I thought, like, what am I going to do? I've got no savings. I've got like this 2 grand of debt. So I just logged on to HSBC. There was like I remember a little sort of message at the top saying, apply for a loan. And I clicked on it. And there was like a little scrolly bar that was like, how much do you want to borrow? So I moved it to like, 10 grand, why not? And it was like, how long do you want to pay it back for? So I moved it over to like, 5 years. That's like, how old will I be? 29, okay. And then I just clicked like apply. And at the time, it was a really good interest rate. It was like £800 on top of the 10 grand, which I think is actually incredible now, thinking back. But then I didn't mention it to anybody. I just thought, I think I briefly mentioned it to my partner, who I'd only been with for like a few months then. And he was like, he didn't know what to say. And I just went for it. And then the money was in my account about a minute later. And I had like 10 grand.
Do you think you had no job at the time as well?
I just quit, yeah. So I didn't have anything
lined up. And you had nothing lined up?
No.
And they lent you 10 grand?
Yeah.
Do you think they were reckless in lending you that money? Or do you think that, you shouldn't have taken out the loan?
It's a good question, because I have made affordability complaints before, but never about that loan. I've made it more about credit cards, but I actually can't remember if the crossover was if I just quit or if I was working my notice period or something. I really don't think they should have given it to me, though.
Would you have told them that you were employed, do you think, at the time?
I probably would have told them I was employed,
right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think I was being quite reckless with it.
You said there you did some kind of like affordability complaint. So basically, I couldn't afford this debt when you gave it to me.
Yeah.
Has your attitude changed at all about yourself looking back now? Because I went through a similar thing of getting into a lot of debt in my 20s and clawing my way out of it. And I think for a long period of time, I was like, circumstances or this or that. But actually, I had been on like quite a bad path with my own spending for a whole period of time. It just got worse because I got access to more money. I think but you give me £50 or 50 grand, I'd have done the same thing with it, which was just thrown it away essentially. Do you look back differently on yourself now, and maybe do you think differently about that period?
Yes, I do. When I first started like documenting my journey paying off debt, and someone mentioned affordability complaints in passing, I immediately just disregarded it because I thought, that's not for me. I was reckless. It was my fault. I've done this. And then as time went on, I learned that it's a two-way street, isn't it? Like, yes, I did spend the money and take out the debt, but should they have lent it to me in the way they did? So I did make, in the end, 2 affordability complaints, and I won one, and the other one was rejected. But I'm really glad I did it. But I do look back and think, like, yes, I overspent a lot, and I was like silly in the way I sort of like. I was the same. Like, I could have won the lottery, and I would have just blown through it probably, or something.
Most
ridiculous.
people do who win the lottery.
Yeah. But I do think as well, like, felt like I was really young. I've talked a lot about that 10 grand loan I took out, and being 24. And I always get a lot of sort of jip for people being like, 24 isn't even young. But I really felt like I had no idea, like no clue about money or the world or anything at the time. So
I think it is young, and I think the length of time it can take to pay something back that you can get in an instant. We need to think really carefully about how we protect young adults so that we don't then sign them up to decades of essentially kind of like punishment for paying this back. It's like a sentence, isn't it, of 5, 10 plus years. It took me until like my late 20s really to dig my way out of what I did in 2 years, in my early 20s.
No, because I was the same. I thought for such a long time that even when me and my partner were both deep in debt, we kept thinking, when we get a promotion, or when the kids are out of nursery, or when, like, we kept thinking, I'm sure the next thing we'll be able to pay it back. But it just doesn't seem to work like that.
You said your father said, throw your credit card to the back of the cupboard.
Yeah.
What do you remember when you actually either got out of the cupboard or got a new credit card?
I never got that one out of the cupboard. Must have just gone somewhere. I don't know where. But the first credit card I got was when I did that balance transfer. I had such an awful history. I was very I abused balance transfers. Like, that was my way of like. So I had all these credit cards, and then once I maxed out one, I would find balance transfers, which they would just give me readily. I don't know why, and move it to like. Sometimes I'd get like a 2-year term, and I'd think I'd have like a moment of like relief, proper relief, and then And then that other credit card that I moved it from would suddenly be empty. And obviously, you should then be like, okay, put that one down. But no, I was like, okay, back to tapping away. And then that just cycle would continue until I had 3 credit cards on the go.
They give you the balance transfer because they know that you will probably not pay it back within the interest-free term.
Yes,
they also get
probably,
the 3% fee. I worked for Barclaycard when I was at university. In their call centre, it's based in Teesside in near Middlesbrough, because they say that the accent's friendly, so they base them in these places. So when you call up, you've got these like friendly Northerners.
Yeah, I can see that. Actually.
Not me, but like this is why they base it in.
You might have sold me a credit card.
I definitely sold you some PPI, mate. You want that? You can take that straight away. You need some of that, mate. Yeah, it was at the time of PPI mis-selling. I didn't do it because I didn't really get out of the training, because I quit to just go back to uni. But yeah, I remember just the sheer amount of people in arrears was like staggering. You're talking like 10 to 20% of all people with a card were missing payments. So and they're getting late payment fees, and they've regulated it a lot now. So this was like 2009. This was the same era as payday loans.
Oh, yeah.
So the business was getting the fees. The business was not like the balance transfer 0%, oh, aren't we nice? They know the data. They've got millions of data points where they go, 30% of people that do a balance transfer will never pay that off, and we'll just get the interest on the minimum payments forever. That's why you could get them,
Yeah. And I thought foolishly that I was somehow like beating the system by not.
You feel like you're adulting, right?
Yeah, and I thought, I'm never going to pay interest. It's okay, like I could do it, but obviously. Like there was a time when I was paying off all my debt that I decided for fun I would add up all the interest I'd ever paid on my Barclay card, and it was like $2,500. And I thought, how have I done that when I've been doing all these 0%? But there's all the as you said, the transfer fees and like the little random bits where I had to pay interest, and it was like £100 a month.
So T, would you describe yourself as security conscious?
Absolutely. I'm not trying to get kidnapped, like all those crypto boys getting kidnapped. I always wear a lot of gold, so like I'm got my head on a swivel 24/7, drive most places. Yeah, always security conscious.
You tuck your chain before you...
Never tuck my chain. I wear it proudly.
Whatever.
Let someone try to take it off
Chain's got smaller over the years, mate.
As my money got longer, my chain got smaller. As Ludacris once said.
Did he?
Yeah, my money got longer, my chain got smaller. You've got to be security conscious with your personal finances and in your business life.
It's not just that bad things can happen in business if you're not. It's that you have to prove you're compliant with security protocols if you want to sell to larger companies.
This is where our partner Vanta comes in. They automate compliance with security protocols like GDPR, HIPAA, ISO 27001, and SOC 2.
The beauty of Vanta is they save you up to 90% of the time it takes to prove you're compliant with these standards, and on average, $500,000.
If proving your compliance is something you need to get done, you can get started at vanta.com/making money. There's a link in the description, and we've put a QR code on the screen. When you got the 10 grand, did your attitude to money change? Because I know if I have a good month in sales, I'm like, I'm rich. And then, so did you feel, did your attitude to money change when you got that 10 grand?
When I had that 10 grand loan in my account?
Yeah, when you received it.
Did you feel like you'd earned that money almost? Like it was kind of not debt? It's like, oh, I'm rich now, like you said.
I definitely didn't feel like I'd earned it, but I did feel a bit like I was rich. Like, because we moved to Birmingham then. So I used some of it on like half of the deposit for a flat, some of it on rent. Some of it, and then I didn't have a job for 3 months, so I lived off it. But I also did like silly things, like when my partner was at work, so he got on a job immediately. He's an accountant, so he was going to work every day. And I was like, I'm off to Asda, and I'd like buy stuff for the bathroom and for the kitchen. And he'd come home to like all these random like little bits, like trinkets around the house. And then when it was very nearly ran out, I was like, oh, I need to do something fun with it as well. So I booked a £500 spa break for us as well, just to go
just to finish it off.
And then it was all gone within like months, and then I was like, oh, I've got to pay this back till I'm 29.
Yeah. Then it kicks in, right? Yeah. I like how honest you are, because it's not easy for people to admit that you spent it on a spa break and things like this. What was the psychology behind that decision? What were you thinking?
My gut instinct was just to say to you then, like, I just wanted to go on a spa break. That's
fine.
I don't know. I just wanted to go on a spa break. Like, it was a really nice Centre Parks one, and you got 2 days in the foot. I don't know if you've ever been to Centre Parks.
I love Centre with the bicycles and best. One of the best holidays
the
ever.
Spas though are just on another level.
I went as a kid. I was interested in the spa. I didn't know they had a spa.
Yeah. No, it's called the Aquasana Spa.
Yeah. Is it the Sherwood Forest one's pretty good, I think.
That's what I
No,
went to.
Bedford one we went to.
okay.
Yeah, but you got like, it was this overnight package where you stay in one of their like spa suites, and they've got this amazing bathtub on the balcony, and they give you like fizz all the time, and you get 2 full days in the spa, and it was great. So I was like splash out on that. But yeah, just because I thought, I don't want to spend the last bit on, I think I had a job by then, definitely. So I thought I didn't want to spend the last bit of this precious loan on like rubbish. So I thought I'll do so. That one experience.
Yeah. Do you ever think, reading the brief and like listening to you talk, there's kind of this thing in that point of your life where it's like, we should have these things. We should be able to go on holiday or go on a spa break, even if that means getting ourselves into debt to do it. Do you think that that's a common attitude amongst young people?
I do, yeah, because I think, like a lot of my partner, and I think I've said this a few times before, but one of the biggest things he says is like, why do I work as hard as I do if I can't enjoy my money and do stuff? It's like, but even though that meant us going into debt. So like we were like, but we should go on holiday. Like I took out, I think one of us put $2,000 on a credit card for a holiday to Turkey, because we just thought, social media is a huge part as well, because we're seeing all our friends and strangers go on holidays and spa breaks and have all these lovely things. And you don't know how they're buying it, do you? But I think you think, I definitely thought, I want to do that. And also you think as well, like life, one of the big things that I hate at the moment, sorry, jumping ahead, but like now I'm a mum, is when you see that whole thing about, you've only got 18 summers with your kids.
It's in my head. It's in my head.
I've got to go on holiday because I can't waste one of these precious summers. But you can't. I don't know. I can't live like that. I just have to block all that out now.
Yeah, I think there's two elements, right? It's like when people say, why can't I enjoy my money? When you take out debt, it's not your money, it's someone else's. And all you're doing is taking money off your future self. You're bringing consumption forward from your future self, and you're denying that future self the ability to spend that money. So it's, you find the can at some point that you've kicked down the road. And then how are your peers paying for it? Was it 70% of Coachella tickets were bought on buy now, pay later?
Wow.
Or something?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, and this is like all these influencers like, we're so rich, look at us, look at us. And majority of the tickets are bought on finance. So they're all on the never, never. Do you know what I mean? It's how is someone who you went to school with, who's raised in a similar area, who does a similar job to you, got a nicer car, bigger house and better holidays? It's all debt. That is the answer.
And I sort of wish I'd known. Like I felt like, I know it sounds really dramatic, but I honestly felt like me and my partner were the only ones struggling along with credit cards and overdrafts and debt. And I thought all our friends and family were just great somehow with money or had savings, and we were just like, how are they doing? How are they doing it? We felt so like so insignificant in comparison, And I know that's on us, but yeah, it was an awful feeling.
Yeah, and it's interesting now that you use social media to kind of project the other angle of it, of like, the grind out of the debt, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like what do they call it? Like a anti-influence, or that de-influence you. Yeah, I'll de-influence you with the reality. Yeah. Why did you decide to put it online?
Well, I'm a journalist by trade anyway. I've been a journalist since I was 21. That was what I studied in uni. And so I love sharing. Like anything that happens to me, I'm always like, can I do a first person piece? I want to write a piece about it. So when I decided to pay off the debt, I thought, this could be a fun sort of thing to sort of document. And I just thought in my head at the time, I'm sure it will be like, didn't imagine it would get big. I thought it would be like something small to motivate me, meet some other people paying off debt, that sort of thing. And it just exploded, and I almost wasn't really prepared for it.
I think a lot of people can relate to it. I mean, I got one credit card. I was doing all right with it. Went on holiday, rinsed out, was taking money out the cash machine on my credit card. I didn't know you're not meant to do that. And then once I got maxed out, I was like, I'm never getting another credit card again. So it's all right it depends on like your appetite. I was like, I deserve this holiday, like you said. I was like, I want to have fun. I've run out of money, but I want to extend my trip. And then I just blew it all in the credit card. And I'm like, I probably shouldn't be trusted with credit cards. So it's a learning process. I think you've got to do it, but obviously a 10 grand loan and like a 1 grand credit card are different things.
Yeah, well, I wish I'd had that thought. I wish after I'd finished uni, I wish I'd had that thought of, I've paid off, I'm going to pay off this debt from uni and carry on. But it just never left. It only really started hitting me once we'd had kids. And because how I sort of think about it is before kids, we were just sort of spending frivolously, thinking, we'll sort it out. Then once we had kids and like childcare bills, like huge, like £1,000 a month, then the debt repayments were £1,000 a month between us. And then we had a mortgage payment of like £1,000 a month. And we thought that's when it became like we were putting petrol on the credit card and like Nappies on the credit card, and we weren't doing holidays, and we were trying not to be frivolous, but it was just like a black hole then of spending. Yeah.
Is that the moment? Is that when you realised it was an issue then?
Yeah, I think that it took a while for the sort of penny to fall in my head, but that's when we were starting to get quite distressed by it. Yeah. No, I wasn't. After I had kids, I felt like I was worried all the time. But before kids, it was very up and down. Like such a huge rise and a huge fall. Like I'd be like really, really upset about it, thinking, oh, what am I doing? Like, I need to be a bit more careful. And then I'd just be like, oh, I'm young, I'm mid-20s, I've got no responsibilities, no house, no kids, no, life is for living. I want to go on holiday. And it was that, but it was so dramatic all the time. Yeah.
So had it shifted? So in terms of the spending and how you built the debt up, how much was the debt, sorry, at its worst point, what was the total balance, do you think?
When we added it up in June 2024, it was just shy of £40,000 between us.
Okay.
But it probably was a lot higher because we put 15 grand on the mortgage at one point.
So you did like a refinance on the mortgage, yeah.
There was another time where my partner got a bonus from work, quite a nice bonus, and a few thousand. And we put loads of that on a credit card, but didn't do anything else after, like didn't change our spending habits or learn to budget or just shop back up. So
yeah, so what I would like to understand is kind of what was this. It seems like it shifted from like consumption around treats, holidays, things to basic essentials were going on the credit card. So there was like a path. Is that right?
Yeah, so it started with, the holidays to Turkey, like the spa break, meals out. We used to just like, Sunday night we'd be sitting in our flat and we'd be like, oh, let's go to Miller and Carter, that sort of thing. We'd just go down and spend 100 quid. And then I think it was like a dripping sort of feeling, like very gradually I was feeling a little bit worse and worse. But it always was a way that when one of us was feeling bad about the debt, the other one would try and reassure them it's going to be okay. So we'd have that sort of cycle between us. And then it kept going. So we had our first son, and then obviously our childcare bills and things. And that's when it felt, because we had a house by then as well, and we managed to buy the house with some family help. And that's when it felt like, we weren't doing holidays. I think we went glamping at one point, but we were trying to be a bit better. But it just felt like, it's hard to describe. It just felt like we were paying so much every month, but we were always on zero. We were always in like the minuses. Like my overdraft was always maxed out and then more. Like I always was like above my overdraft. Like I remember, this is one of my most awful moments. I'd just given birth to my second son and I was lying in the hospital bed. My partner had just gone home to go collect our first son from his grandparents. And I just thought, like, we haven't got any food in the house. So I thought, okay, I'll do a shop. So I just thought, because I'm not doing anything, I'll lie there and order a few nice bits, treats, things for the week. And it came to like 100 and so quid. And I put it on the credit card. And I just remember like such an awful feeling because I thought, I've got this new baby here. I've got another son at home and I'm on maternity leave now for like 10 months. And I just felt like sick. And another moment that comes to mind is when I was in Asda and I had my eldest baby with me. So he was the only one I had then. I didn't have my second son. And he was very small in a pram. And I remember I only bought like £30 worth of things, including some nappies and like maybe bits for dinner. I can't really remember. And I tried to tap my card, my credit card, and it wouldn't go through. And I didn't have any way else of paying because my overdraft was maxed out. So I was just standing there at the self-service, sort of having a little bit of a panic moment. And so I just rang my mum in sort of like, I think I rang her, but I don't know if she picked up. So I think I remember texting her and I was like, look, I'm in Asda. I'm really, really sorry. I just need 30 quid. Could you just transfer me 30 quid, please? I just want to buy X, Y, and Z. And she immediately was like, yeah, sure. And that sort of, I think she was at work and she just immediately sent it over so I could buy. But I also remember, I think I had something like a Toblerone in my basket. And I remember a moment of some sheer guilt. I was like, I'll put that one back. I'll put that back. And I'll just have the nappies and the dinner. And then I bought with the money that my mum had sent and went home. But that was a horrible feeling because I didn't want to ring my partner because I knew that we were in this sort of situation together and he might not even have the money. Sometimes like we were in a very weird cycle of sometimes I'd have money, sometimes he'd have money. So sometimes I'd ring him at the petrol station and be like, my card won't go through, can you transfer me 20 quid? And he'd immediately send it and then I'd pay for petrol and go on. And sometimes he would do the same. He'd be like, I'm in Tesco, I need and it was,
I've been there.
Yeah. And it's the same with our balance transfers actually, if you don't mind me saying. Like sometimes he would have a great 0% interest deal and I'd have nothing. And so we would transfer as much of our collective debt onto his and he would pay it off, and then sometimes or I would pay him a bit of money a month. It was like a really weird, that's why we always thought of it as our 40 grand debt, because whose was whose at that point. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. That makes it, my first son triggered me to take finances a bit more seriously. So I think kids do definitely have that effect on you.
You got some skin in the game, haven't you, when you got a kid?
Yeah.
The stakes are higher. That's
Yeah,
what, I can't remember who said it. It's like, you know, before you have kids, you're playing at a different casino table to everyone else.
You're playing life on easy mode.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that easy mode.
It feels easy mode.
Well,
mate. It feels like easy.
What I mean is,
looking back, it feels like easy mode back then.
Once you've got a kid that literally will die if you don't look after it, you're playing at a higher stakes table, and you start to go, well, should I be blowing all this money on stuff when like, you know, they're going to suffer as a result? The one thing I want to say is you got more than 18 summers with your kid. You probably got 85 because, you know, they don't leave home at 18 and never see you again.
I've realised that. Yeah, I think
the one that gets
that's
me,
like some Instagram shit to make you feel
but
bad. Like, you get
Because
rid of
like,
that.
You've got one summer with your kid as a baby, 4 summers with your kid as a toddler. So those are the ones that get me. And I'm like, my son is 3 now. I've missed the baby stage is gone. I'm like, just have another baby.
No.
So it's like, but he'll never be a little. I can never hold him again like a little baby.
Obviously, yeah, but like I think about the people I enjoy hanging out with the most, and they're all in their mid-30s. So I'm thinking, like, when my son is in his mid-30s, 40s, 50s, I'm going to have a great time with him. I'd sit there and have a beer with my man of a son. Like, do you know what I mean? And look back on in life. I'm excited by that. I feel like as parents, you tend to think, oh, at 18, it's over. It's not. Yeah, and like...
I just don't want the back chat. I like him thinking I'm the world.
Yeah, well, the back chat is big now.
Yeah, it started already.
My son's 13, so
wow.
yeah. So
I'm like, you're going to be in the corner. He's like, do it then. I'm like, where did you learn this phrase? Do it. That is new. Do it then. Is his new favorite phrase.
Do it then.
Yeah,
is that what he says to you?
He's like, do it then. I'm going to turn off the TV. Do it then. I'm like, I think one of his little friends taught it to him, but he sounds so cute when he says it because he's like a little 3-year-old.
Yeah, you can't help but smiling.
Do it then, Dad. Do it then. I'm like, okay, fine.
So what was the conversation at the point you were like, this is enough, we need to fix this? What was the conversation you're having with your partner?
So the moment happened when I went shopping. It was in May 2024, and I was with my 2 kids, and they were 3 and 1 at the time. Maybe less. No, 3 and 1. And I went to buy some trainers for my partner's birthday, which is in May. And they were like 70 quid trainers. And I thought, yeah, I'll get those. And I remember standing in the queue with my Barclay card, sort of like waiting. And while I was waiting for the assistant to come over, I was like doing like mental maths in my head. And I was thinking like, this is my 3rd credit card. And then I thought, it's quite close to being maxed out. And my overdraft's always maxed out. So I was suddenly thinking like the panic was rising. And I was thinking, what am I going to do when this one's maxed out? And I thought, I could do a balance transfer. And then I thought, but then I'll need a 4th credit card. And I was like, I can't have a 4th credit card. I think that's when the penny dropped. I was like, I think 4 was one too many for me. I was like, I can't have 4 credit cards. When I got back and I said to him, like, I didn't tell him about the trainers, but I said, maybe after your birthday, we can talk about like how we're going to pay off this debt. And he was like, yeah, I've been feeling, I can't remember the exact conversation, but he said that he'd been feeling the exact same. And we really should start doing something about it. So it was really good that we both felt quite strongly about it in the moment. And I remember after his birthday, because it was June the 3rd that we started properly, and then just carried on. And yeah, and somehow we're here now, debt-free, which is just the biggest relief of my life.
Do you feel like you'd enabled each other before that point?
Definitely, yes. Yeah, we were both, like, the relationship I was in before, he was a bit sort of cautious sometimes about spending. And then, I don't know about Dave, but like when I met him, he was like, yeah, let's go to Miller & Carter. Yeah, let's do the spa break. Oh, yeah, let's go on holiday. Like, and I was big like that too. When someone was like, oh, should we have a takeaway? The other one was like, yes, let's have it. So we were, yeah, definitely egging each other on, which probably wasn't great. Or if one of us was a bit nervous, saying, oh, maybe not, maybe we should save money, then the other one would be like, oh, come on, we worked really hard. Like, you know, we've had a really tough day. Oh, come on, the kids have been crazy today. Let's have like a little treat. You know, food was our big one. So that's where a lot of our money went.
So, mate, you've started your company.
Tea Unlimited, open for business. It just made more sense financially for me, really.
It's a bit more admin, though.
Tell me about it.
I bet you haven't sorted out your accountancy stuff yet, have you?
That's a problem for future to me, mate, not right now. But I know you're a fan of Xero.
I am actually. I genuinely think it's probably the best finance product I use within the business, because every single business that I run has a Xero membership. You need accountancy tools to run a limited company, but it's also increasingly necessary for sole traders and landlords too, because of making tax digital.
This change means that if your turnover is more than 50K, you have to use approved software like Xero to file your income and expenses every quarter.
It's not just making tax digital though. You can use Xero for all the necessary filings like company accounts, VAT, payroll. But what I like most is how easy it is for me to see what's going on in my business. Revenue, profit, cash flow, all the stuff I need to be on top of it. So if you're looking for accountancy software, then definitely check out Xero. You can get 90% off for 6 months by going to xero.com/makingmoneypodcast. There's a link in the description and there's a QR code on screen. It's like sickening when you think back and it's like I spent 30 grand on meals.
No, I couldn't even add it up. I'm like,
Yeah.
No, we did a budgeting episode and the amount I spent on takeaway shocked me. And then my partner just like 2 months ago, she's like, I've quietly just been keeping your receipts from all your takeaways. She's like, this month you spent like 200 and something pounds on. I was like, what? And I didn't realize that I spent so much. So I'm like, okay, the budgeting, and you just fall back into old habits. So first I stopped it for a while, then like after a year, I'm right back into the same habits. So.
But then it attaches like an element of guilt to something that you love. And you become really conflicted in the activities. It's okay to like food and like restaurants, but when you're putting it on a credit card, you have this, it's like bittersweet, right? You're like, oh, we shouldn't have done that. It becomes a naughty thing. Now I'm more financially stable in my life. I can go out for a meal and not worry about the cost. And that's the best bit of it to me. Not standing at a petrol station forecourt or anywhere going, is this card about to bounce? I still have that anxiety. I'm like, there's loads of money on there. I know it's not going to bounce. And I'm looking going, like, it's that PTSD of those times where I'd be stood in the queue praying that they would let me go a couple of quid over.
I put like 50 something p in my Mercedes. Like at the petrol station, got all the coins from my car and put like 53p in my car.
You could put 50.
They have signs
you could
now.
put 3p. You could put whatever you want. Yeah.
No, you can't. They have signs now saying like £10 minimum, and I'm thinking, Tia be screwed in. We used to wheel his Mercedes in. We'd have your leg out, it's like the Flintstones. Just like getting this car in, and then put 50p in, and then spend 20 quid on a night out.
Yeah, come out with my gold chain and be like, yeah, here's like 53p, and then we're going out tonight. Somehow we got money to go out though.
Always got a bottle of Moët somehow.
Yeah, but a bit of tequila bottle somewhere.
Yeah.
You said you had was it a plan for 3 years to clear your debt? What was the plan? What was the structure? How did it work out?
So we both had full-time jobs. Oh, well, I worked 4 days a week. They worked full-time, and we got like a spreadsheet, like an Excel, Google sheet sort of thing. And we went through this one night where we looked at like properly looked for the first time at like every penny of debt we had. So we went through. We had 6 credit cards between us and 2 overdrafts. So we wrote down every balance to the penny. We wrote down the term, like how long it was 0% interest for, or if it was being charged interest, like what was the most important one. At the start, I didn't even count my overdraft because I thought, well, it's just my overdraft. But then eventually I was like, okay, actually, hold on, that's a big thing too. That's £1,500 of money that's there, no, it's not mine. And so we added up all of that, and that came to, I'll never forget the amount, £39,390 between us, so just shy of £40,000. And mine was £22,502, and his was £16,888. Figures burned into my brain. And then once we'd added up all that and had the shock of our lives, thinking, oh gosh, that's 40 grand. Then we thought okay, well, how are we going to do this? So we, on the same spreadsheet, we wrote in little columns, what his salary was, what my salary was every month. And then we wrote down every bill. So to the penny, how much council tax was, how much water was, how much our mortgage was, how much, all these little subscriptions you have that you don't realize, like Amazon Prime and the New York Times, which, I canceled, that sort of thing. We tried to cancel stuff that we felt we didn't need, but we kept things like Netflix and Amazon because we thought, well, we're going to be at home for a while, so we're going to need it. And then we did we tried to sort of work out, okay, so after all the bills have been taken out and all the debt minimum payments, how much have we got left? I think it was between us, we realised we'd have £600 left a month for all the groceries, petrol, fun, anything else, which is obviously a lot less than what we'd been tapping on the credit card. So we worked out that if we could stick to that, and luckily all our credit card balances were on 0%. So we worked out that if we kept going at the rate we were and the interest didn't go up, then we would be done by 3 years. And we thought, okay, so how are we going to split that 600 quid? Because it didn't want to just be random, because this was where we were going wrong. So we thought, okay, let's have 300 quid of that is food, which doesn't seem very much at first. And then we also wanted a bit for fun, because we thought, well, again, we're going to do this 3 years. So we were like, okay, how about like 200 quid for fun, and then like 100 quid for petrol? Does that all add up? And that's like nothing at first. And we really had to hone it, because like we kept like spending too much on food. And then we realized, oh, someone's ill and needs a prescription. Like, and then we thought, oh, where does that go in the budget? And like, there were things that, or like someone's birthday came up and we'd have to have the difficult conversation of like, do we just say like we're not getting presents this year? And like Christmas came around and we thought, you know, like, how are we going to do Christmas? So we started trying to save like 50 quid a month for Christmas. But it really helped having that sheet, because I became a bit obsessive with it, because I would start looking at it all the time and being like, right, what can we do with that? And like, I used to get my nails done all the time, and like I used to get nice blow dries and stuff, and like I cut all that out. I cut out anything that we felt like we didn't need. Like we stopped buying clothes. Like I'd buy the boys' clothes on Vinted, that sort of thing. But then that's when I had the want to sort of make a bit more money on the side, because I thought, oh, £600 a month. I don't know. I was just worried that, and I sort of wanted the debt to go down. Once the first few months had gone past, and we actually, for the first time in our lives, were seeing the debt go down rather than just up all the time, or just like, you know, what's that word? Just staying the same. It was like, it gave me like such a drive to want to make it go down faster.
How long did it take you in the end?
16 months.
Instead of 3 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
what helped speed it up?
So we started trying like little things on the side. Me mostly. Like I would do like loads of things I hadn't even considered before. Like I learned about cashback, which I'd never done. Like all those things like top cashback, and you know, trying to get money from what you buy. Bank switches. I did my first bank switch and panicked through the whole time, thinking it'll go wrong. But I got like 200 quid from that, which was great. And then I would sell my clothes on Vinted. I tried to pick up extra work. Like I freelanced at the Vote one night. I remember being really ill, and I went in like Shropshire to do like sit up at the count and like then just be ready to report the count at like 3 a.m. And I got 300 quid for that. And like,
counting the votes?
Yeah, no, like reporting. So I was a journalist, but like a freelance.
I see what you mean.
So I just sat in the press area waiting, then wrote down the count, then rang I think I was doing it for PA, Press Association, then rang them, and then and I got some money for that. So every penny would go on the debt. And then once I got more and more, I was like, okay, what else got to do? And at that point, I then started earning money through my TikTok. You probably know, once you've got to a point on TikTok, like 10,000 followers, which I reached which is crazy now to even think about. I reached that in 30 days. And I could join the Creator Rewards program and start earning money through my videos. And once I did that, like a lot of people told me, oh, it won't be anything. Like it's really low apparently. So I wasn't expecting much. But I think I started in June, and by September, I made £1,000 in a month. So I was just like, oh my goodness. So I chucked all of that straight on the debt, and then just thought, oh, let's keep making more videos and talking about it. And yeah, it really, really helped. I know not everyone can do that, but it really helped.
Yeah, not everyone can go on social media and become a big phenomenon like you, but or Damien. But it's when you said about the side hustles and like finding little jobs, everyone thinks, oh, a side hustle has to be, Damien always says this, has to be like a big crazy business, but like he did delivery, takeaway, driving. Like you can do little bits like your voting thing and just make a little bit of money here and there, and it all adds up.
I delivered takeaways like Friday, Saturday, and lived off that money, and then like used my wages to pay it down. I got I don't know if this is legal, but I got a 4-bed house and then rented the other 3 rooms out individually.
Oh, wow,
so
cool.
I was like living for rent-free in the place.
Nice.
I was getting paid to live there, plus living off the takeaway money. So that's kind of like how I drilled down the debt. But it still took me 5 years because it was about 40-odd K by myself.
Yeah, well, I had Dave as well, who obviously was paying. We did it a bit differently. I would try and hustle as much money as I could, because my amount I was paying was a bit lower. He would just put a set amount on every month. And then when I started earning a bit more, I think because a few people say to me, oh, where would you be now without TikTok or Instagram? And I say like, I probably would have found something else. That makes me sound like really arrogant. I'm not. I just mean like, if TikTok hadn't worked, obviously TikTok was working for me and Instagram, so I threw all my efforts into it. But if it hadn't, maybe I would have, you can see these people being like Vinted resellers and stuff and doing all these other side hustles. I probably would have just tried to find something else that fitted me.
I've always loved a side hustle. When I was a kid in school, I used to bring back cigarettes from Nigeria and sell them to my classmates. And then like last summer I opened in Notting Hill Carnival, we were selling alcohol and food and like burgers. So like it can be like a 1-day, 2-day hustle. You can make a lot, or it can be like a regular thing. It can be, just got to think outside the box.
Yeah. And we're now trying to save. We're trying to save 40K as like a full circle moment, F you to the debt sort of situation. Yeah.
Save, like in what form? Like how are you saving that money?
In a few ways. So I'm trying to learn a bit about investing. So I've invested a bit. And then we're trying to move house. So we're saving a big lump sum for that. And just saved in lots of different pots. Yeah. But
What kind of investing are you doing?
stocks and shares ISA.
Yeah.
Don't ask me too much about it.
Do you know what you're buying inside of it?
Say again.
Do you know what you're buying inside of it?
Yes, I do. I couldn't tell you right now because it's on my phone. I forgot what they're called.
Yeah.
Vanguard something?
Yeah, like a Vanguard.
Like an index.
Yeah.
I did a course and everything. I was like, I want to know. I don't want to just throw my money.
Did you pay
into
for that
something.
course?
I did, yes. I was happy to pay though.
Whose course was it?
Course.
Do you know?
It was Stocks and Savings.
Oh, I know them. Yeah, I know those guys.
Yeah, it was a really nice course because I feel like, I hope they don't mind me saying this, it was like a investing for dummies sort of thing. And I feel like a dummy with investing.
Yeah.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one.
I got a free course I can share with you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I didn't know about that.
I know,
Yeah.
ours is free. We give it away.
Oh, I'm always happy to read more because I feel like I still need to learn more about it. Because I look at it and I invested quite a big bit and it's been okay. But I'm too nervous now. I even had a dream about last night. It's really weird, isn't it? Like I invested an extra 700 quid in it and I woke up like, oh, maybe that's a sign I should try and do more.
No, the hardest thing about investing is managing the self because the gyrations of the market over a long period of time can like shake people out of the market. So, you know, for someone who comes from a cash world, like you say, typically they expect things to be quite linear. They're not in the stock market. So you need to be able to be comfortable with the fact that you can see a 20% drop in the value of your funds. You know, and when you get to like quite large amounts, you could lose thousands in a week on paper.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing.
Yes.
The actual like what to buy and where to buy it, buy a globally diversified portfolio inside of a tax efficient account. Rinse, repeat that for 30 years and you'll be fine. That's the broad.
Course,
But like the hard thing is
sticking to
Trump's kicking off with Iran and my portfolio's down 20%. What do I do with that? That's the thing you need to get your head around.
Yeah.
Because you will have that.
It helps that I also don't really know how to take the money out now. So I don't know how to get it out. I just thought, I did have a little panic when I first invested it. And I said to Dave, I was like, I think I should get it out. And he was like, no, leave it. And I went on and I was like, I don't know how to get it out.
When you were because the clearing the debt thing is, I know it's a hard concept for everyone. What made you actually stick to it? And like, how do you manage keeping on track and not, being like, oh, let's just buy some takeaway or let's go on this holiday? How did you stick to your plan?
I think once we started seeing the debt come down, which we'd never seen before, that was a huge motivator. So that was really good. But also like, it was like a challenge and I love a challenge. And once I started realizing this could work, and also I was talking about it all the time. So I felt like I'd made myself really like accountable. Like I was showing the world, like I was trying to do this and I didn't want to fail. And also things like we'd never done before. It seems really might seem trivial to some people, but if we were going to like the aquarium for a day, I'd just rock up, buy on the door, go in, kids want ice creams, should we have lunch out, that sort of thing, and then go home. Whereas now, I realise now that if you buy like in advance, like you might save 10% on the door. Like if we take like little snacks in a bag and a little drink, that'll save us another like 20 quid when things are really expensive. It's just little things like that. So because a big thing for us is that we didn't want to have a miserable 3 years. We thought it was going to be a 3 years. So we still wanted to have the odd takeaway. So we would do things like have a chippy, which is like 20 quid, instead of have a wingers, which is like 40 quid for us or something. Do you know what I mean? On Uber Eats. Or we
what?
I was
on
about to
Uber
say,
Eats. Sorry.
Wingers.
Oh, have you not got wingers around you?
Sounds like something I want to eat though.
Oh, it's so good.
Is it chicken wings?
Yes, chicken, but it's just really good. Wingers. Yeah, it's like chicken stuff, chicken and chips.
Okay.
Or we'd like another small thing. We'd order all the time when we were in debt on Uber Eats, and obviously they mark that up a lot. So we'd start like walking to get our weekly takeaway and then save like 5 or 6 quid each time. It was like really little things like that, but we would save money. So we thought, well, as long as we're trying and like making the most of free days outs as well, like just going and having a picnic in the park and like having a movie day at home rather than splashing out in the cinema, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, if you think back to your own childhood, do you remember the meals that you had with your parents as much as you'd like the times? Do you know what I mean? I think we tend to kind of go, oh, let's get them the ice cream, let's go for a meal out, let's go to lunch and the thing. And it's like, how much of that do you honestly remember?
Yeah.
You spend hundreds on it.
I like what you said about like these little changes. Like, for example, I always used to just, my car insurance would expire and I miss payments, they fine me for late payments. And now I just pay for the whole year up front. And then I didn't realize they give you a discount if you pay all year up front instead of paying every month.
Yeah.
And then things like I go work out and every day I used to buy like a Ribena or a bottle of water on the way. And I'm like, I've got squash at home. I can just get a bottle, put squash in it, put water, and save myself like £2 every day.
Yeah.
So it's these little changes that don't hurt you that much, but you like planning ahead.
Did you get any advice about clearing the debt at all at the time?
I think I was a bit nervous because I didn't want to. The only people I would have asked for advice were my mum or dad, and I was just very nervous telling them about it. I had to really get up the courage. So no, I didn't.
You didn't go to any debt charities or debt services? Or...
No, once we worked out all the figures and realised that we possibly could, because I think that was the problem. We never thought we could do it. We kept getting all this money, all our salary come into our account, then all the debt payments and all the bills leave, and we felt like we had nothing left. But once we actually really looked at it and added everything up and took our heads out of the sand, we realised there was a little bit left. So we thought, let's try and see if we can do this first ourselves for a bit and see how we get on. It wasn't quite at the situation where we thought we can't even live. We thought we have a few, like that £600 we've got to live. So
yeah, I used to work in the debt management industry when I was in crippling debt. It was pretty funny, really, because I'd be like, people are like, "Oh, my debt situation is so bad." I'm like, "Mine is so much worse."
You're like, that's lightweight, mate. So don't worry about it.
I think it was why I was good at the job, because I could empathise with people.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it would always just be an income and expenditure. So you do a budget with them, and you would see kind of where their money was going, and then you would look at debt management plans, IVAs, or bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And some of the stories that we would get. I remember the first time when I realised it doesn't matter how much you earn, some people are just going to get themselves in debt. I had a football player from MK Dons on $7,500 a week, and he called in and he was just like, "Oh, I'm struggling with my finances a little bit." So I went through it with him. He had £1 million mortgage on interest only, was renting a Ferrari, 250 grand on credit cards, 150 grand loan. And he was like, "Oh, my partner is like a similar position to me." And he had to go bankrupt.
Oh my goodness.
Like basically, it was like the advice was like, you're never going to clear this. And
wow.
He was like, "I've got 2 to 3 years left on my career and I'm starting to think I need to get on top of this because I've got no money saved." $7,500 a week. This was in 2012 as well. So this was like a lot. I mean, it's a lot of money now, but back then it was I was like, damn, this guy's balling out his brain. And yeah, it was all just, he was living like a Premier League footballer, but he was like a League One.
Yeah.
So he was just living above his means and it wiped him out.
Yeah.
He's probably got a job now because he didn't earn it. He didn't save any money in that period.
A lot of people have asked me online, why didn't I just go bankrupt? But I don't think we felt like we were quite at that stage of desperation.
You don't just go bankrupt.
No.
People don't really realise how that impacts you long term.
Yeah.
Like for the rest of your life, mortgage applications will say, "Have you ever been bankrupt?"
Yeah,
because the impact is 6 years. Once it goes past the 6 years, it can't be seen on your credit file. So they ask you. But if you lie, that's mortgage fraud. So, even though it'd be like, "Oh yeah, it was 30 years ago," you have to say, "Yes, I have been bankrupt." And they might just go, "We will never lend to someone who's ever been bankrupt." That's their own criteria, right? There's also they're all over your finances. It goes to court, right? When someone says, "Why don't you just go bankrupt?" It's like, you don't know what you're saying.
No, no. Well, as well as people would say, "Why didn't you just get an IVA?"
It's a form of insolvency.
Yeah, that scared you, didn't it? Got you. Make sure you're still awake. What's an IVA for our audience?
Sorry, I did wonder what that was for.
Individual voluntary
agreement. Arrangements.
Yeah. Or agreement,
I probably should have Googled that before.
So I used to sell IVAs, which is going to sound really obtuse to people, but they are big business. So what you would do is it's a type of arrangement where over 5 years, someone will pay back some of their debt, but they're still going insolvent. They're still wiping debt. Gosh. So the failure rate on them was really high.
Yeah.
But the arrangement fees for setting these up are thousands of pounds for the companies that do them. So, I would set up, I left this I thought the industry, I don't, anyone who's listening now, just go speak to a debt charity. Don't speak to one of these organisations that sells debt services, because they'll make $3,000 to $4,000 on every IVA, and we would sell 40 a day.
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. Sorry, I'm not. But the IVA that was suggested to me was from Step Change. And I had, at the time, I had £9,000 left of my loan, and also because I was in my mid-20s. I think I just had a bit of a stressy moment about it all. And then I had £2,000 on a credit card and then a bit of overdraft. And they suggested it to me, and I rang my mum and was like, what do you think? And then she was like, no.
Insolvency for £9,000 is crazy.
Yeah, she said that's for something. She gave me an example of someone she'd known who had an IVA once. She was like, you're not in that sort of situation. Like, she said, don't do it.
I think that whole industry is questionable.
Yeah.
I think the IVA product is it suits the industry in the sense of it's bankruptcy, it's insolvency. But calling it bankruptcy is not right. It's insolvency. Some of the debt is wiped, but the creditors are all getting some of the money back.
Yeah,
so of course they're going to go, yeah, we'd rather that than it all be wiped.
Yeah,
Through the bankruptcy they can get assets, but you're often talking about people that rent, don't have an asset, don't have a car. So even if the bankruptcy goes in and values everything they own, it's going to be like, well, they've got 50 quid.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the industry pushes that as a solution as if it's great. And I think in my opinion, it suits the industry more.
Yeah.
And bankruptcy is a credible option for a lot of people. It gives them the relief, but it's definitely not an easy way out. People who are like, oh, I've got 10 grand, I'll just go bankrupt. Like that is a wild decision,
It's making me anxious just thinking about it, even though I haven't done it.
Lots of people do IVAs and they change their lives, but I definitely, they're a profit making product. So there's an industry behind that wants to sell them because they make money out of them, lots of money, Yeah,
definitely.
So always be careful before you do anything like that. Go on, mate. Sorry.
I was just going to say, you mentioned that you would have asked your mum for advice, but you didn't want to. There's a lot of shame and fear with debt. When did your family find out about your situation?
When I set up the TikTok account, I had no fear that my mum and dad would be on TikTok. So I was sort of okay about that. But then, because as I said earlier, I'm a journalist, and I, at the time, was working for Birmingham Live. And once the TikTok started doing quite well, I went to my editor and I said, I'd love to write. I showed him, and because we'd had talks about money before, and I said, I'd love to write a story about this. And he was a bit nervous at first, and he was like, are you sure? Like, you don't have to. Don't feel like it's a big thing to write about. But I was determined. So I wrote my piece, and then it was like ready to go online and like in the paper for a certain day. And that's when I thought, hang on, like there's more chance my dad is going to look at Birmingham Live, to see maybe what I've been up to or something. My mum, I wasn't too nervous telling about, so I did tell her, and the one thing she said was like, I told her the number, and she was like, maybe don't let it get any higher than that. And I was like, okay, I was like, thanks. And then I saw my dad, it was a whole debacle. I rang him, because I've gone through messages on my phone. It made me feel a bit sort of upset reading them, but like messages from years ago of me confessing to my dad helping me, trying to he lent me some money once to repay my overdraft, and I would pay him back interest free. And then he has sent lovely messages like, really try and get a handle on this now, you can do this, that sort of thing. And this was like a decade ago, and obviously never did. And so I sort of would avoid telling him about it, and I'd go around his questions, that sort of thing, to obviously try and avoid lying about it. And so when the story was going to come out, I remember ringing him and saying, I'm starting, I'm going to pay off debt. And he was like, are you sure? Yeah, you said this before. And I was like, yeah, I'm really taking it seriously this time. Like, we're really doing it, me and David. Like, we're really determined to do this. And I said, there's a piece coming out that I've written for the paper, so you might see that. I just want to let you know. And he was like, how much is it? And I was like, it's about, and I was like, and he was like, what? He was like, about £3,000 maybe. And then so I was like, and I was too nervous to say. And then after, I was like, I've got to tell him, you can't read that it's like this much money. Because, not to make things too complicated, but we say it's 40 grand because that was me and David. But at the start, I only shared my own debt attached to my name, which was about £22,000. So the whole story was, I'm going to pay off £22,000, not £3,000. And I remember texting my stepmom first and being like, I've got to tell dad something and I'm really nervous. And then she was like, just tell him, it'll be fine. And so in the end, this sounds like the chicken's way out, but I texted him and I was like, you're going to see a story. It's coming out on Sunday and it's the full extent of my debt. I just want you to know that I'm on it now, and like, please don't worry, it's going to be okay. And then on the Sunday, he obviously read it and he sent me a message being like, I've just seen the story and I now understand the full extent of the debt you're in. And it was a very professional sort of message. And he was like, you've got a long road ahead of you. And he was like, but I'll support you. And it was really nice, So they've both been really supportive. I did a video when I paid it off, when I finished like all the payments, of me ringing them. And I sometimes still watch back because it's so sweet, because they're like, oh, hello. Like, I rang them separately. And And I was like, oh, I'm debt free. And they were both like, oh, it's amazing. Well done. So yeah, it was really nice. Yeah.
A full circle moment. That's great. I definitely relate to the telling your parents to not lying to them, but trying to give them like, get around the question in like a platonic, what's it called? What do politicians do in a nice way? Political way.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. Yeah, there you go. That's the word.
Bullshit your parents.
Yeah, bullshit your parents. Without lying. Without lying is an art.
Spin.
Yeah, spin your parents.
No, I saw my dad like the other few weeks ago, and he still gives me shit for it now. He was like, oh, I can't believe like you sort of like. I was like, I didn't lie, and he was like, oh yeah, but you avoided the truth. And I was like, yeah, I suppose.
Liberal.
Yeah, and parental support in those times. I think that I knew 2 lads. I don't really know them much anymore, and in that period where all of us were kind of in debt, we were just all on credit cards and stuff. The Cresley Bears, we used to call ourselves, because we were just always maxing out the Cresleys. we literally got a WhatsApp group called the Cresley Bears. Yeah, shocking. I still go in there sometimes. I'm like, this group is wild. But 2 of them were always, when everyone had sorted their lives out and like become adults essentially in our like mid to late 20s, they just continued on that path. And I know today they're still like that. And the difference was that their parents would keep coming in and paying off the debt. And then they would just run it all back up again. They never had that kind of moment of like, no, you've got to walk this road now, like your dad did. He said, you got a long road ahead of you. I'm here to support you, but you've got to walk that road.
Yeah, there was no offer this time of like, did I want any money to borrow? Like, I'm sure like if I'd been absolutely dying, like I'm sure he would have. He would have offered, and my mum offered too. Like my mum, they handled it differently. My dad would go through it with me, and he paid off my overdraft, and then I had to pay him back a set amount every month so it was finished. And then my mum would sometimes give me a bit of money, not very much, like 100 or so for like for my credit card. But then that always made me feel like full of guilt because I wasn't getting anywhere, so it felt like it was money that's going into the abyss. So, yeah.
I think you have to walk that road at some point in your life of, I messed up and now I've got to dig myself out the hole. Otherwise, you just never really learn. I think this is why it's so good to do it to kids, where you go, here's £10 for the day. This is your money to last all day. Watch them blow it in 5 minutes. And then all day go, you blew your money. Just so to try and give them that lesson young, rather than, in your 20s where it can be devastating. Some people don't learn until they're 50s,
Some
60s.
people just don't learn.
And they get their pension and they take 25% out and they blow it on crap. And then they're like, oh no, I can't afford to retire. So I think it's so important. And as a parent, I know you are, it's the hardest thing to do, to go to your kid, go, yeah, sorry, you messed up there and you're just going to have to take 3 years to sort it out, when you could just step in and go, oh, I'll make it better.
Well, it's the thing, because my oldest son is 5, and I at the moment, I have no idea like how to handle money around him, like how to, he doesn't get pocket money or anything. He's still so small. I
think a good exercise, maybe when they turn to about like 6, 7, I think that's really helped with my son is go, what do you want for dinner? Spaghetti bolognese. Go to the supermarket with them and go, this is the money we've got to buy it. Help me.
That's a good
and then
idea,
they see the trade-off between ingredients. You can't just get the top brand of everything. Maybe we want like a nice mince, so we'll get cheap pasta. Do you know what I mean? And you just kind of introduce that budget in that way, in a way that like makes it interesting for them. And then failure, like I said, in terms of they need to experience the disappointment in a controlled setting so that they don't, because you get to uni and you've got an overdraft, you blow it in a week on the bars, and then that's when you learn the lesson. Yeah, but I think even as someone who is good with money, I don't know how to teach my son about money.
No, I feel like I get a lot of questions as well about, have I actually got a handle on my spending now? And there's a little bit what you said earlier, like I am now financially secure, so I feel like I can spend my money, but like I'll get a takeaway, like maybe I'll get 2 takeaways a week 1 week, and I have that feeling of guilt suddenly. But then I'm like, hang on, it is my money, and I just have had a busy week, and I would like to not cook. But I still have that feeling, and I don't know. I'm hoping that'll go away eventually. I don't know if it ever will.
is the net worth going up? Is the number up and to the right? So each month, are you getting a bit richer than you were the previous month? And as long as that's the case, then you're.
I mean, I think our savings. Is that what you mean?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, are you getting richer?
Yeah.
Are you contributing to pensions or ISAs, and is the number going up? Or down in the sense of a debt? Are you working towards the zero? Right.
That's a good point.
I think you just need to kind of give yourself a bit of slack. It's taken me, Like to this day, I still beat myself up about spending, which I shouldn't. You know, I can afford to spend money if I want to, but I still have like a guilt, and it's almost like that was the defining point in my psyche in my 20s of being like really skint because of the debt, and I've struggled to kind of shed that. And I think you kind of got to have some checks and balances where you go, as long as this is happening, I'm doing okay.
Yes.
And for you, that would be, are we progressing? Are we getting more savings?
Yeah.
You know, and as long as that's happening, you can probably go, we're all right to have a takeaway.
That's a good point. Yeah. That's a good point. I've not thought about it like that. So yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And then you want to get to the point where you're kind of like, what is our goal? You know, how much do we need to retire? And then let's plan that out, and then let's work towards that number, and then we can enjoy a bit of life. Because I do think people who have come from a large debt position, it's almost like you're a recovering alcoholic. It's like it stays with you forever.
Yeah, I feel
and
like
it affects you forever.
Yeah.
And you really struggle to kind of break that psychology.
I think I've been a bit nervous to talk about that part, but I perhaps should more, because I hope I don't give this impression, but I think some people might get the impression that I'm just like super thrifty now or something, and that's how I can save so much, but I'm not. Like I do still like to spend on food, and I do still like today, like, you know, not being organised enough and having to get an extra train ticket, that sort of thing. Like, you know, I'm still that sort of person, but
I think that stays in you. But I like you said, like the debt thing is a bit like trauma. It stays with you forever. But I think it's like a secret superpower, because I don't think either of you will get back into that situation or position again. But at the same time, like you, I'm a bit like you. I missed a flight from Miami, had to buy new plane tickets. I was having too much fun. So these things, they'll still happen because it's still in you. But, you know, as long as you're aware of it and you're making the changes.
Well, I never want to go back into debt again.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, that's why we're so intent on like saving now, and we have all these different we've got an emergency fund for the first time ever, I have my own tax box now. I'm self-employed. We've got money for like the house, anything that I've got coming up. Like, I know you've probably heard of sinking funds. I'd never heard of sinking funds before I started paying off debt, but like having a fund for like the car MOT, which is coming up in June, has just been such a huge thing for me, because before I would get to June and they'd be like, that's 400 quid for the car, and I'd be like, okay, where am I getting that money from? And now I probably wouldn't struggle to maybe find that money, but I'd probably still take it out of my tax pot, which probably isn't the best idea. So now I've got this thing, like these little pots, where I feel so much more like relaxed and reassured, because I know that things that are coming up, birthdays, Christmas, are like taken care of, which is nice. Yeah.
So do you see yourself differently now compared to the lady who took out the 10 grand loan?
I do a little bit. I feel like she's definitely still there, but I do a little bit. Yeah. I feel like I'm a bit more sort of prepared now, and I know I still like to spend, and I'll still, like, I do love like luxury things a little bit more than, like, I'll always go for like, I love a really nice meal out, and I'll never be one to scrimp and have tap water. I'll be like, get me like that nice drink, you know, that sort of thing, and that nice pudding. But yeah, I do try really hard to like I'm still very bad at buying clothes. Like, I'll buy the odd thing, but that's one thing I struggle to spend money on. So I'll just live in the same pair of jeans for years, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Are you proud of yourself?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I really am. Yeah, I'm proud of both of us, me and Dave, because I'm so glad we had each other to sort of motivate each other. And like, you know, that we could do it for our kids and stuff, and because I had such horrible fears of them getting older and wanting to go on school trips, or, you know, have nice holidays with us, or have things that their friends had. Obviously, I won't, you know, I'm not going to give them everything, but I just wanted to be able to give them what I feel they deserve. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think you would say to someone now that's listening, that's in a similar position to you, what you were, you know, that hasn't kind of gone, right, now, this is it, let's get it sorted?
What I always say is that, like, the big thing for me was just starting. I feel like for so long, I always had it in the back of my head, I can't do this because I just can't. Like, my head was in the sand. I wasn't looking at my accounts, I was ignoring all the statements, and I thought, it's impossible, I'll be in debt forever. But once I actually started and I added everything up and I figured it out, I felt like it was a little bit more possible. So actually opening my eyes to it, which I know sounds really small, like a really small thing to do, but it really, really did help. So I would definitely say, like, just actually start and actually see if you could do it. Like, give it a few months. Yeah. I think that sounds really basic advice, sorry, but
no.
And just believe that you can do it. That sounds really cheesy, but just believe that you can do it, because for so long I thought I just couldn't do it. And
I think it becomes quite fun.
Yeah.
It's like you feel good about yourself for once.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you're working towards a goal. Honestly, one of the happiest times of my life when I look back was this grinding period of paying off the debt. I just used to walk everywhere because I didn't want to spend any money, and bulk make 30 portions of bolognese on the first day of the month.
You loved your bolognese. It was crazy.
Yeah, I just make it like, I make like 30 portions.
You made a vat of bolognese and just like bagged it up.
Bagged it all up for a tenner, and then
I
that would
bought me
eat
some
that.
wraps, and that was
Yeah.
good actually. But then by like Friday, you're sick of wraps.
That's the thing. I'm like, don't you get bored of it after like day 3?
Don't ever get bored of getting richer, mate.
No,
Never want to get richer.
Good boy.
I might go back to those bolognese days, right? Just like, yeah. Right, and Maine, go on, give me your thoughts on that episode, please.
Please, you're welcome. I thought it was really inspirational because sometimes, I mean, I've had a bit of debt, but if it feels overwhelming, and I really like that she not only she tackled it, but I said, how did you keep at it once you started repaying it? And she said, when I started paying it, I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's a good feeling. You can see the debt going down. So I just thought it was really good that she took control of the situation.
Yeah, she went from quite reckless to really after it in a quick move, and it's cool to see that transition, and then how she like redirected that energy into hammering it. All started with a budget, so I think it's appropriate that we probably leave the budgeting episode here that we did together, where we show you the process I kind of went through when I started to pay off my debt. T's never done a budget, so. You haven't, have you?
No, we did one on the podcast, and then I never used it again.
Yeah, see ya. Rip that up.